Welcome to In Heels with Keni Silva. And today's guest suffered a sudden cardiac arrest that changed the course of her life. But instead of letting fear define her life, she chose to live intentionally. And she decided that her experience can also help change others' life. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you so much, Keni. It's
Thank you.
My absolute pleasure to be here.
Well, you don't even know how I'm excited because I was just talking about I'm like a kid in a candy factory because I'm going to learn something exciting today, especially about control, which I am a control freak for everybody who knows me. And that's the area where I need to work on myself. But before that, I want you to share your story.
My story. Well, 2 years ago, I was an empty nester, a kind of new empty nester. I have three grown boys, and one was off to college, and living my best life, life coaching, had beautiful balance in my life. I was playing pickleball. I was doing yoga. I was playing beach volleyball. I was meeting up with my friends. I was reading books. I was cooking. I felt like I was in some of the healthiest mental, physical, spiritual space of life that I'd ever been in. And I had just had a full physical. I was healthy, like everything was great. And I'm in the middle of a third competitive game of pickleball right here in El Segundo on a spring morning. And all of a sudden, I just kind of started to feel faint. And I just said, I just kind of need to sit down. I sat down on the middle of the court, took a couple deep breaths, thought maybe I just need to get some water to hydrate. Went over to the bench, took some swigs of water, and I went down on the lap of one of the other players. And I went down hard, and I turned gray immediately. And someone called 911. Someone checked for a pulse. There was none. And I was saved by angels. There were a couple of other players that came over, and one jumped on me with CPR. Another one started doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation until the paramedics came. My heart literally stopped, Keni, for 12 minutes.
Wow.
And because they kept the blood kind of pumping to my brain and kept it oxygenated, I may have survived, but I could have had some serious brain damage. In any event, I then was rushed to the hospital, and I walked out of the hospital 4 days later with a brand new little defibrillator pacemaker, kind of my second heart.
But when you woke up in the hospital, obviously you don't remember anything besides fainting. What was your first, thought?
Well, apparently they put me in like a hyperbaric chamber to kind of cool my body temperature down for 24 hours. And I woke up after that, and I was, according to my husband and my youngest son, I was pulling the cords out, just kind of crazy. And then the next thing I did, speaking of control, they said I was asking for my phone because I had clients that I needed to get to. That's funny.
I would do the same thing. I would be like, hey, hold on. I have emails to answer.
Exactly. And I was so heavily sedated. Then they put me back under for another 24 hours. Then I came to, and I think I was just the reality of, whoa, what happened? A cardiac, what? And then my family was there, and there was just kind of this, I think I was just very dazed and confused. And the next real thought I had was immense gratitude. Oh. Immense gratitude that, whoa, I'm here. I'm back.
Yes. Because it probably ran through your mind that I could have been dead.
I could have been dead very, very easily. I should have been dead. The stats on a cardiac arrest are different from a heart attack, by the way. Many people can survive heart attacks. But with cardiac arrest, which is an electrical heart rhythm problem versus a plumbing problem, which is a heart attack. But cardiac arrest, for every 100 people who suffer a sudden cardiac arrest, only 10 survive.
Wow.
And of the 10, only one walks away neurologically intact or unscathed.
So that was you.
It's 1%. So I woke up with this tremendous gratitude. And then I was also like, okay, God, why didn't you take me? Whoa, obviously it wasn't my time to go. I'm here. Whoa, I've got some living left to do. What am I going to do with this one precious life and this second chance that I have when I thought that I was living well and with depth and with purpose. And I think what was really powerful for me, Keni, and you're going to love this, is what I really realized was that 90% of the things we worry about never come to pass.
Yes.
It's the 10% of things that we can't anticipate that really knock our socks off.
100%. And I think a lot about it. That's why, especially for my kids and for me, when you even think about something, I would say like, hey, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Let's figure out today's problems. Let's not figure out the next week's problems because they might never come.
Absolutely.
Let's see what unveils.
Yes.
And that actually helped me so much to just, not go crazy. And I literally write down now in my schedule on the days of things I need to think of something. Like, let's say today is Monday and I don't need to think until Friday about a problem. Yeah. So I write it down. Friday, this is the time I'm going to think. This is even the day and the time. And it helps me tremendously.
That is fantastic. That it's like a practice that you've put into play. It's like training a new muscle.
Yes.
It's a new habit. And it's like, how does an ant eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. And all we have is right here, right now.
Exactly.
This very moment. That's all we have. But it's hard to live that way all the time because I think life and our world is so crazy and so busy. And it's so external. And everything is forcing us to kind of be looking out there and focusing out there. And to take that time to just sit and kind of just be and ground and have that presence of mind, it takes real commitment.
And I think especially in this world with the social media being, such a big part of our life, even I realized that I cannot concentrate on a full movie because you constantly need that change.
Yes.
So a lot of times, and I spend a lot of time driving. So that hour of driving for me, it's the best meditation because this is a time I allow myself not to think about anything, just the road and whatever goes into my mind, but a good thinking, not like obsessively thinking about problems. And also I started doing once a week, or I tried more when I just shut down my phone 2 hours. And, there is times I realized that you wake up, the first thing you do, you check your phone, the problems. You go to sleep with the same thing. And then your brain just never rests.
Never rests.
And I started noticing this with my children. And then I decided, okay, before I'm going to teach them something, I need to try that myself. So even when we were last year on vacation, I said, kids, we're going to take the whole Sunday off, no phones, no nothing, just us and conversations. And I remember myself as a child, we didn't have that. We were playing with simple things, imagining, talking. We had the best day. And since then, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start doing it more and more, especially for me. So 2 hours, and they say, and maybe it's wrong, that in 2 hours, the brain can actually reset when it doesn't have that extra stimulation. There's no stimulation. You can journal, but no TV, no phone, no nothing. Just let it detox from all that information, the access of information. That's the problem, I think, these days.
Yes. And that's fabulous that you are doing some really, really terrific things. And again, I think role modeling for our children that are being raised so differently from how we were raised, right?
Yes.
They're having to navigate so much. And it's to the point of where, we think we have a difficult time just getting quiet enough to listen to our own voices, to our own intuition.
But you can't hear that because it's all the time it gets distracted with that outside noise.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I don't even believe my intuition or what I hear because it's outside noises that say, not this, not that. Only when I could never meditate before until I did the brain mapping and I realized what was my problem. And now I know that I can do the walking meditation when it says, so when I can reach that state of mind of not thinking, this is where you can hear all the answers in the world.
Yeah, there are many different forms of meditation, right?
Yes.
You just have to find one that works for you. And many people, you want to move and you can very easily do that. Or I loved what you said about driving in your car, There have been many times when I'm driving in my car and I don't remember getting from point A to point B because I wasn't present. Right? And you're sharing that that's a time where you're kind of decompressing, and it sounds like you are present. And that's a really kind of detoxing time for you. And that's great living in LA. Like, that's good. Or living in Orange County or LA.
Yes.
That's really, really nice. It's that commitment. And I've learned it later. And I had, our body keeps the score. And I think my body just at some level had to scream at me, even though I thought I was super healthy. And I've been a nutrition coach. I've been healthy and fit and an athlete all my life. And this just kind of completely caught me off guard. But it got my attention to think about, I want to live many, many more years. And how do I want to live those years? And what do I want to, I want to move more from doing into being and embodying the kind of person that I want to be. And then the doing and the purpose and the next steps seem to reveal themselves more organically. Now, I've already raised my kids and I'm working, kind of on something that's a passion project. My Heart Centered Life coaching is kind of a passion project. You're in the middle of life. Like my parents have passed away. You're that sandwich generation. You've got the kids and you've got parents and you've got full career. And I'm sure you're probably dating. And I mean, you're in the thick of it, which is also very, very exciting. So gosh, the things you're doing, I mean, I'm inspired.
Thank you. And I always say that sometimes I feel like I'm in a survival mode because I don't have a choice. It's like when people ask me, like, well, how do you do it all? I'm like, well, I don't know. Nobody gave me a choice that I cannot do it all. It's like always, and it was just my personality. That once I set the goal, I don't sleep until I reach it. Obviously having children and being a mom and navigating their lives also, because as a mom, that their life becomes your life.
Absolutely.
So you're kind of living 2 lives or 3 lives because you're trying to manage them and help them out. And this is where I realized, like, I always think about the brain literally as a computer. I'm like, my computer needs an update or it needs something because otherwise it's going to overheat. And it will just stop. And this is where I started thinking about myself. I mean, going through divorce, it was I didn't have that luxury just to stop thinking. It was just like making sure the kids are okay, organizing the new life, realizing what I want. And now I'm at the point, because I do so many things, where I started thinking like you, like, okay, something has to change in order for me to live a full life instead of being on this survival mode, which might take me down. Because I always think about it. And sometimes, my mom is like, you need to slow down and you need to let go of control and you need to allow other people, because you know what happens? The universe will just put you down. So every time I'm sick, I'm like, okay, I got the memo. I need to change something. And this is where it comes down to. So now I allow myself to have once a week, a day of doing nothing.
Fabulous.
Learning to do nothing is a skill.
It's hard.
Let me tell you. Because the first thing when you wake up, even on a Sunday morning, you have your routine and then you're like, well, but I can do, especially if you're in the house, like, oh, I can do this. I'm like, no, you're not. I can do that. I was like, no, you're not. And it's really when people laugh at me, like, what did you do? I'm like, nothing. Like, and it's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
It's constant.
It's the hardest thing you've done all week.
Exactly. Because my mind just tends to solve problems. I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
Like, you give me a whole list, it's going to be done by tonight.
Yes.
But when it just relax, just watch a movie. Don't think about anything.
Yeah.
It feels hard.
Yeah.
And that's why I also talk to my daughter, who's, in some way, my therapist. She's like, Mom, I think maybe because you started working so young, you never had that experience and just being a kid, just enjoying things. That's why in general for you, every experience, joyful experience has to have a reason, or has to have like what you can get out of it.
Yes.
So we always say, it's like, and I would tell her like, oh my God, Alexis, you didn't understand. I tried, like I went with my son on a mommy son trip and I'm like, I played a game. And she's like, I'm so proud of you, Mom, because she knows usually I'm not the kind of person just to be like, why are we playing this? Like, I can be learning something, I can be doing, I can be building, like just having a simple pleasure.
Yes.
And so she's like, okay, for this year, that was my resolution. I'm going to start doing simple pleasures.
Beautiful.
Just doing things just to have excitement.
You've raised a wise young woman. And the other thing I was going to say is the power of a sense of humor.
Yes.
Right? Keeping things light, keeping things in perspective. Like I try to think like, well, what I'm worrying about right now, is that going to really matter a month from now or a year from now? Like, let's really think about this, and then just lighten up, But it is a practice and it's a skill, and it takes being intentional about that, And I think it's almost harder. Well, let's see, you've been such a doer all your life. So you're trying to practice kind of just releasing a little bit, right?
Yes.
That's maybe that's even harder than someone who's really trying to get motivated and do more. I'm not sure which, but being such a doer and having started working so young and being so responsible, that might be such a trick. And I think that's incredible. I mean, again, it's taken me many, many years to kind of really realize that we have a long, long life. And we can do it all. We can do it all. And I do believe we can have it all, just not necessarily all at the same time.
That's a good one, because I would say we can be anybody we want. We can have it all. But I like that. Not necessarily at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. There are seasons for everything.
Yes.
And you might go through seasons. You might want to do one thing, then another thing. So you primarily work with women.
Primarily with women.
And when they come to you, what's their biggest thing they want to accomplish?
Well,
or create in their life?
They want to create more sovereignty, more agency over their life, more control, but in a really healthy way, more alignment. They're typically, my niche, which you'll appreciate, is helping women navigate major life transitions. So whether it's going through divorce, empty nesting, not necessarily a new job, but maybe what type of career do I want? Like, where's my purpose? How will I be fulfilled within that? The loss of parents or any type of grief, health issues, and we're always going through transitions, but any type of transition where they're kind of taking a look at who am I now in this new season of my life? Because we're always having to kind of reinvent in a way and re-examine who are we, right? Like when your children up and go, your identity's been so much about who they are. And now it becomes time to release. Now, who will you be then? Right? You'll always be their mom, but they will have their own lives. And who will you be then? Right? So it's really helping women they're doing the work themselves, but I'm helping them just peel back the onion and ask the hard questions. And they're just taking the time to find their own solutions with guidance within a safe space with someone who has been through a lot herself, who's experienced a lot and navigated a lot. So I think that's one of the beauties of getting older too. And I'm sure you feel this way too, as opposed to being in our 20s and 30s, is each decade brings wonderful new wisdom and experience, which makes us more and more comfortable in our own skin. And we're able to determine our boundaries and what we're capable of and who we are, what we've lived through, what we've already navigated. So then that whatever comes your way, gosh, I've been down this road before. I've had to be courageous. I've had to do this on my own, and you've done it. So that gives you strength for the next hurdle, And
I think that's why for women, especially once they've been mothers, it's much harder to identify themselves with, different roles that they play in this life.
Sure.
And I think they come more to realization that they lose themselves. They don't know who they are anymore. Because I feel like men is always, they go get a job, they're providers. This is it. They only have one role to play their whole life.
Yes.
No matter what, if they have family, if they got divorced, if not. For women, it's completely different. Even if the woman works the whole time, but even carrying a baby for 9 months, taking that maternity leave, like kids going and, to schools, to middle school, like they constantly evolve and change.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times I see, especially women after divorce, they don't know who they are anymore.
Yeah.
Because their identity shifted from pre-marriage, being a wife, being a mom. Even if they work, they're like, who am I?
Who am I? Yeah. It's a beautiful time to, I kind of recommend to women to really start planning that when their children are in high school, really kind of start thinking hobbies or
this is I always say when my kids are in college, I'm moving to Europe. And my kids are not even in college. My son is just 14, my daughter's 17, but I'm already I've been saying this since 2 years ago. I'm doing what you say.
I'm not worried about you.
Yeah. I was like, can you guys go to college faster? Because I have plans. I need to go.
Right. And it's
and I think when you not depend on the outcome of your children, of your husband,
yes,
you have your own life.
Yes.
It's so much easier.
Yes. It's very important to have your own life. And I think that's one of the beautiful things of having always had a career, having something that you can call your own, and that you can sink your teeth into so that your children don't become everything, because then our identities can get so wrapped up and then we become those helicopter parents, and that's not good for our children.
No.
And then our children are carrying the burden of feeling like they are the center of our worlds, and that's too much for them to carry.
Exactly.
That's not healthy, right? So whether it's, my parents were European and I was raised down on Laguna Beach, and they emigrated here, and they were not micromanaging. They were they had their lives. They had their friends. They, we were out after school and you come home when the sun sets and we ring the dinner bell, right? It was, they didn't know what we were doing every second of the day at all.
Well, especially there was no phones. There were no cell phones. But it was hey, you're on your own. You better figure it out. Yeah. And my parents also, they allowed me to express there were rules.
Yes.
But as long as you don't break them, you're fine. You can do whatever you want. You want to travel the world. You want to live in a different country. Go ahead. Spread your wings.
Yes.
And that's why when I see my girlfriends and their kids now at the college age and they're trying to I want him to stay in California. I'm like, why?
Yes.
Why? You just don't have anything for yourself to do? But it doesn't mean give your children. I actually was pushing my daughter. I'm like, you know what? If I were you, I would take a year abroad. Yeah. And now my daughter's like, I want to do the same thing. I'm like, that's the most beautiful thing you can have. This is the time you can try it all.
This is the time.
Because once you're out of college, this is when you really have to focus on your business, career, whatever it is. You don't have that flexibility just to go to live in Europe for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. You can. You can.
You can.
Different. I've got our youngest one. We have a motto in our house: keep your 20s to yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I feel hey, I'm especially after divorce, I always say I feel like just graduated college and I'm out. I'm experiencing everything new and fresh.
Yes.
And the thing is, in your 20s, you look at things different.
Yeah, of course.
In your 30s, you look at things differently. Yes. Now in my 40s, I was like, oh my God, this is when life really begins.
Yes.
Because especially for me, my kids are already not at the age when they fully depend on me. I don't change diapers. I don't have sleepless nights. I can actually enjoy the conversation with them when they become my best friends.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I can create my own things, and we're kind of both spreading our wings and enjoying life, which is the most beautiful thing. I know who I am. I know, what I want to do in this life. I know how to get to where I want, which is also, it comes with experience. Mm-hmm. It comes with so many times failing.
Yes.
And
which is huge. Huge. That we don't talk enough about that, right? It's all the entrepreneurs. How many failed? I've got 3 boys who are all entrepreneurs, and all the failed attempts before you get that unicorn or whatever. That's the grit. That's the journey. That's what builds it. And that's powerful. Right? That's huge.
Well, it also builds the resistance to failing,
Oh my
to
gosh.
losing things, to losing money, to, being judged by others.
Yes.
And once you build it, and I think that's why when you're a model, especially back then, you go to auditions, you get rejected 20 times a day.
Yeah.
So you build that in you.
Oh, yeah,
That's a part of the job.
Yeah.
There's nothing personal about it.
Yeah.
That's why I think for me, starting over is so easy because I don't take that personally.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, there's the next one.
Yeah.
And it's much easier.
Yes.
But this generation, especially when they see everybody's doing so great on social media, they start comparing themselves.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, why am I not doing so great?
Yes. Yes. At that age, it's just about right. Confidence comes from action. You just have to take action, which you're role modeling so beautifully again for your children and for this next generation of just this can-do attitude and this I can conquer the world. And you have this international air about you because you've traveled and you've emigrated to another country. Yeah. And so the world is your oyster. And you're like, my children, you can go to take that gap year. You can go to college in Europe. You can go wherever you want, right? Like you don't have to stay in California.
But at the same time, I remember myself and I was thinking about it. When I was 19 and I came to this country, I had no fear. I'm like, hey, even if I fail so many times, I have so much, time ahead of me.
Yes.
When I was going through divorce, I was in my late 30s. I realized, wow, I'm scared to start all over because now I feel like I don't have that much time for failure. And this is then I was like, wait a minute, and also because you become responsible.
Exactly. It's not just about you anymore.
It's just not about me anymore.
Yes.
So I realized the biggest setback for me was that fear of failure because now not only I have the wisdom of a good life and, responsibility of my children, but also, and then I'm like, you know what? Who cares? I might as well try it all. And for me, I always tell people, as long as you believe so much in what you do, and you work hard, it's going to be a success.
Yeah, it's very true. And I mean, there is this whole resilience. You had to you've survived and you dealt with rejection from such a young age and you've reinvented. And I wish that our youth was doing maybe more of that. I don't know that they're as encouraged to do all of that quite as much. They're a little bit more protected.
Oh, I feel like, because I can see my kids at school, even if the child is failing, instead of giving him another chance, they're punishing him.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that life doesn't work like that.
No.
I believe in learning lessons.
Yes.
And it's a great tool for success.
Absolutely.
Not the punishment, but because punishment kills the whole desire of doing something else.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's got to get up and do it again. And it's, that beautiful can-do attitude. And I mean, the world really is our oyster. And I don't care what age you are. I mean, I'm going to be 66. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like my life is just beginning a whole new chapter. Like, how many more women can I help? How many women can I remind to go get your heart checked? How many people can I encourage?
Wait, what age, by the way, a woman should start checking their heart?
Well, I think ideally baseline around 50.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit of that generation where my mom had got ovarian cancer and died from it. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to take any, my sister and I we're not going to take any HRT drugs. And that was kind of all of that. And so luckily we went through menopause. We just kind of thought we're going to keep exercising and just sweat it out and we were fine. But what I didn't know is how protective estrogen is of our hearts.
Oh.
It's very protective. And I didn't know that. And my dad had some electrical heart issues. So there was a little bit of that in the family. But I had no idea. I never had any symptoms. I had no clue. And, but yes, to get a baseline at like 50, to at least get things checked and to know your genetic history, I think is really important. Mm-hmm. And then another thing that what I'm kind of diving into now, I'm kind of evolving is, I shocked my community and my family and friends because I was seemingly so healthy, right? I'd done all the right things. But I'm also kind of looking back to my life patterns and realizing that, I've kind of been a people pleaser. I've kind of been a bridge builder. I've, maybe carried more of an emotional load than I needed to. And that can translate as stress.
Yeah.
And that can weigh on our hearts over a period of time. And I'm sure that played a part in me having a sudden cardiac arrest. I hate to admit that, but I have to take some responsibility, because I do know that our body keeps the score, and our bodies will whisper to us. And then the whisper will get louder and louder until we listen to it, or until it knocks us off our feet and it really gets our attention. So I'm really paying attention to that too, and trying to, because this thing about parenting, it never ends.
I know. I say little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems, right?
Yes. It gets more and more complicated.
Yeah.
Right? In beautiful ways, but it never ends, right? So,
and I learned after divorce to let it go, especially on the days that my kids are with their dad, that he can manage that.
Beautiful.
Not that I stop being a mom.
Of course
I'm just
not.
allowing another person to step in, because that's a
Huge.
part of control.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So that was a big work I had to do those days that I didn't have kids, and like, why I'm not enjoying myself? But I had more stress that my kids were not with me. I was not micromanaging the time they went to sleep, the time they did the homework. And I was like, I need to stop. I'm going to I'm going to make myself crazy.
Yes.
And I worked on that. Like, hey, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're not going to finish homework. They're not going to, they're going to go to sleep late. They're going to be tired in the morning, but they're going to have to learn it anyway.
Yes.
So they might as well start doing it.
Yes. And there's a reason that God gave us two parents.
Yes.
We learn different things from each, some good, some bad, but they're still learning different things from each that will serve them well in life. Right? So that's a big one. And you probably heard of Mel Robbins and her Let Them theory.
Yes.
Great book. And I think that that's really kind of rocked the nation of, if more of us can just allow and yes, let things be a little bit more, have a little bit more faith, a little bit more trust that things will work out. Maybe not in the way we think, right? But maybe in even a better way than we could have ever even imagined. Don't you look back at your life sometimes in the rearview mirror, hindsight is 20/20. You're like, wow, gosh, I would have never imagined that I'd be here now if I could have anticipated this 10 years ago.
No, it's especially 10 years ago. It's not, but I like to do those reflections. And especially now at the end of each year, I do what I did. I write it out, because then you can see the progress also.
Yes.
I also write down the things I learned.
Yes.
Or I'm working on, because it's not just by the achievements. To me right now, personal achievements is worth much more than what people can really see. Me working on me being not patient, because that's it's working on, my control, working on, catching those emotions and not reacting on them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a personal for this year, for 2026. It's a personal growth that maybe a lot of people don't see, but I see it in myself because I have less stress. I sleep better. I don't worry about a lot of things. And I learn to let go. And first, when I read her book, I listened to her, and I'm like, wow, this is easy to say, but hard to do.
Super hard to do.
Because just to be like, okay, well, let them. Well, it still hurts.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And it's not like you do want to let, but it's not like it's a switch off and on. And you have to have that toolbox of skills, of exercises to be able to even let them do whatever they want, and it doesn't bother you.
Yeah. Yes. Again, it's a practice. It's a discipline. It's an intention. It's an intentionality, and it's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. And I think you tapped into something, as you've learned to do that more, you're feeling more internal peace.
Yes.
And isn't that what we all want?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that?
I think a lot of people don't know what that means in terms of they never experienced it.
Yeah.
So even for me, when people would say, well, you want peace, you want peace. I'm like, what is it? Like, I always ask, it's funny because I always ask, when I pray before, I used to ask for strength. Yeah. So then I realized after universe or life put me through a lot of situations where I had to build that strength. Yeah. Then I'm like, maybe I'm asking for something wrong because I'm a still lady at this point, and I don't complain what life gives me. But I'm like, I always have to overcome something. And they're like, well, you always ask for strength. You have to build that.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, now I'm going to ask for peace. Because I don't think I cannot be stronger than this. So now I'm like, okay, peace. But what is it exactly peace? Then I started thinking. And then I realized wow, peace is when no matter what hurricane is you're going through, it just doesn't affect you. Mm-hmm. You just sit there and you observe. Mm-hmm. And that's the most beautiful state to be in, which is so hard to achieve.
It's really, you just said it beautifully. That is when the world is spinning around us, as it always will, and we can just stay centered and grounded within that. That's the gift. And also, don't you feel so good when you're around people that are that way?
Yes.
Don't you walk away feeling a little bit more peaceful?
Yes.
I do. It's beautiful. So there's this ripple effect. And wow, doesn't the world need more of that right now?
Absolutely. So when a woman comes to, what's the first thing you tell her to do?
The first thing that I tell her to do, well, I ask her a lot of questions. So we do a lot of kind of discovery. And then probably one of the first things is I really encourage her to start a little gratitude journal. Mm-hmm. There's something very powerful with starting each day with just 3 things that you're grateful for. Or you can end each day with three things that you're grateful for from that day. And then you can start the next day with 3 things that you want to be very intentional about, or one thing. But it's just something about programming before you go to sleep, programming the subconscious. Mm-hmm. Then you have that whole night's sleep where your little subconscious filing cabinets are doing their thing, and that gets integrated. And then I think being intentional the next day. So it gets people to start focusing on what are some of the good things in my life right now. Mm-hmm. Let's start there, because that's real too, because we all have a lot of things that we're grateful for that we take for granted. And we tend to, just by human nature, it's like leaving the house. I'm always checking the pillow. I'm always noticing the things that are wrong, straighten the pillow, right? It's like I'm scanning for the thing I've got to fix, my little OCD thing. Or we're always looking for the thing that's a little bit off or a little bit wrong, as opposed to what's right, Yes. And let's focus on what's right and what's good and what's working. And let's start from there, and then we pick 1 or 2 things, and it's a slow process. I work with people. It's either 3 months or 6 months, depending upon what they're trying to accomplish. And really also starting to really determine what their values are. What do they really value? And what kind of choices are they making on a day-to-day basis in terms of, are they living those values? Is there congruency? Are they living in alignment, or are they saying one thing or wishing one thing and doing another? And many of us are, without even realizing it. So it's really exercises in identifying the things that you really value. And from there, you can kind of start working into what your purpose is. Then
I think that's a big question. How to find what your true purpose is. Because in this life, by chasing so many things and being so many, a lot of times I think we forget what's the true purpose for us. We don't know. We cannot find it.
Well, again, if we get quiet, or we remember to when maybe we were a little girl, what were the things that we loved doing in our free time, where we lost ourselves in play or in drawing or some kind of art or whatever, and even now, if there's a little bit of time that you have, where do you get in that flow state? What are the things that you just love to do? Is it cooking? Is it reading? Is it, for me, it's conversing. I am for right now, you are my whole universe. I'm so present, like right here. I love this. I love this kind of heart-to-heart connection. Some people it might be cooking, some people it might be traveling, others it might be writing. It's like, what are our gifts? What are our natural gifts? And getting in touch with that, and then putting that with the values. And it's almost, if you focus on becoming the person that you want to be, the qualities that you want to be, and get quiet, I believe, and I have found, and my clients have found, that you then get these little intuitive hits that reveal to you your next steps and what your purpose is. And I believe that we're all here on this earth to serve in some way, shape, or form, right? With our gifts, to serve in whatever way we can to make this world a little bit of a better place for the next person or for anybody that we come in contact with. So how can we best do that? And we all have different gifts and talents and experiences and desires and ways in which to do that. And so it's about kind of uncovering, and we have the answers inside if we just get quiet and listen and focus on it, get intentional with it.
Do you think that now, me having a teenagers, and I see a lot of moms when they, help their children to find that college and what to do in life, I started finally realizing that a biggest part of our life, we're so impacted by what our parents want us to do.
Yeah.
That's where we lose the connection with who we truly are.
Yes.
What we really want. We just want to please our parents, their expectations of us.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so grateful to mine. They never put those expectations. They allowed me to be who I was. That's why I changed so many careers. I got so many degrees. I did everything in my life. And the same right now with my daughter, when she's a musician, but she loves psychology. And I said, try it all, be it all.
Yes.
You can always change.
You can always change.
And when I hear to other moms and they're like, no, I want my son to be a doctor and a doctor, like, well, that's a hard career to be enforced on, because I don't think I can be a doctor. Yes, of course I can get a degree, but you have to have a heart. And that's how I especially with doctors, I feel like some of them, they should never be a doctor because it was forced on them.
Yes.
Versus have a true calling to help.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that again, a couple of things. Number one, we don't want to have our identities wrapped up in our children's. We don't want to, I believe, want to be really careful to not like live our lives that maybe we didn't get to live or didn't choose to live, and then put that on our children, right?
Yeah.
So I think being aware of that. And then there's this whole other thing of, faith over fear, like leading with faith and not fear. And there's a lot of fear out there. And there's a lot of, society says that you have to go get that 4-year degree, or you have to get that multiple degrees, or go get that master's. And these are the only, industries that you're going to be able to make money in, because no, I think the world, again, is your oyster, and try it all. And when you find something that resonates, you're going to pursue it, and you're going to be good at it. You're going to figure it out. But it could be something that's completely different from what your parents would have ever anticipated for you.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of faith and a lot of courage for parents to allow their children. But I also think that now there's so many different avenues that are opening up for children. Yeah. It doesn't have to be right from high school immediate to college. It can be that gap year. It can be a 6-month break. They can go work. They can go just travel. They can, go to a junior college and not spend all that money on a 4-year college. They can,
there's all this kind of avenues. But what I noticed especially, and I tell that to my girlfriends with their children at that, college age, I said, for me, the most important thing for my kids to be happy.
Yeah.
Not, of course, successful, but everybody has happiness and success at a different measure.
Yes.
You might measure it having so much money and having certain lifestyle. For them, it might not matter.
It might not matter.
And the funniest thing is they all look at me like, well, I want them to take care of their family. I said, I never said they will not.
Yeah.
I just said they might not want to have the life you have.
Yes.
With all that success, it might not be important.
Yes.
I would rather have my kids being extremely happy, have a beautiful relationship, versus chasing something and be unhappy and miserable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want to be like, ideally, you don't want to be like in your mid-40s and realize that that ladder that's up on the building is on the wrong building.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's so perfectly said. I think I was climbing a lot of those ladders my whole life, but hey.
I mean, it's harder than you do have the responsibilities of children and maybe a mortgage and all of those kinds of things, right? It's easier to do all those trial and error things when you're younger, especially unless, there are those children who are very directed.
Yes.
They know what they want. They found it. And then good on them. That's amazing. But I think that's more the exception than the rule.
Yeah.
If they're very talented in artistically or musically or theatrically or who knows, or with languages. But most of them, they have no idea. Yeah. So go and dabble and try different things as much as you can. Living in LA is expensive, right? Hey, we have our youngest is 27 and we said, keep your 20s to yourself. And he's been traveling the world and working on different projects and fell in love with a Brazilian actress and is living his best life. But there are trade-offs for that too. And he's now, when he's home, he's under our roof right now, trying to figure out a whole entrepreneurial adventure. And so it's different than maybe some of his friends are doing. But this is what's making his heart sing. Is this freedom and this ability to dream and create something on his own. So I think if we as parents can be supportive of our children to a degree, give timelines for certain things, but there aren't rules around that. I don't think there are rules around that.
And being a parent is not just having a responsibility for their life, but also not to force them or give your beliefs to them, to allow them to form their own. Yes. And sometimes it's really hard because I know as a mom, I want them to have the best life.
Yes.
But I also have started realizing that sometimes the good life comes with a lot of lessons they need to learn.
Yes.
And because every parent wants their children just to have a clean slate.
Make no mistakes.
We
want to teach them everything that we learned so you don't have to go through it.
Yes. And it never works.
But let me share something with you. My youngest, who's now 27, Ryan, I think he was a senior in high school. He was already committed to college. And he looked at me one day and he said, Mom, you and Dad, it's like I carry around a carton of eggs, raw eggs. And I pick one up and I'm going to maybe make a scrambled egg, but accidentally I drop it. And one of you gets there and you catch it and it never splatters on the ground. What kind of message is that giving me? And I'm like, well, I don't know. We're catching it so it doesn't splatter on the ground. He said, yeah, but that's telling me that you don't really believe in me, that I can clean up my own mess or that I can make my own decision. And that means, do you believe in me? And if you don't believe in me, how can I believe in myself? And I will never forget that. I was just like, whoa, is that what I've been doing? Is like trying to kind of overprotecting you? He's the baby. And that really got my attention. And then he did another time, he said, Mom, can you stay in your own lane?
Which I absolutely love because I usually come to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I just want your ears, not your advice.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And she's...
That's it.
Yes.
I just need somebody to listen to me.
Yes.
I know what I'm going to do. I just need to vent.
Yes.
And actually, me and my daughter, we also have this. So when she comes to me, she's like, Mom, I just want you to listen. I'm like, okay, I got it. Go ahead.
Beautiful. And that's an art and a skill to be able to do that with our children, to just listen and just, poof.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
I think when I realized, and we had with my daughter, she's exceptional communicator. She can, she really expresses what she means. And we got to that point where we really talk to each other. We went through, some hardships like every teenager, there was times, but then we realized that we can communicate what we need from each other.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because what I think she needs, she actually doesn't need at all. And the same thing, she was like, Mom, right now I need you to cuddle me. I need you to do this. And for me, I love that because I hate guessing.
Yes.
I just give me clean directions. I'm really good at following.
Yes.
When I know what they might expected of me, like, hey, you're going to get the best mom in the world.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't know because I was raised completely different. I didn't have all these things. And obviously we're all different people. We'll need different things.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I love that what we created. We always honest. We always tell what we need without saying, you're a bad mom.
Yes.
No, you just tell me what you need.
Yes.
And I'll give it to you.
That's wonderful.
And also the same thing was like, hey, you just want to vent to me? Go ahead, do it. Yeah. And I also learned there's some times when she's talking to me, she's not asking for my advice or what would I do. She just wants to, say it.
Yeah.
And I learned to step back. I'm like, hey, that's their life.
Yeah.
They can learn on their own mistakes.
Because when she's saying it, she wants to hear her own voice and speak it out. And then she gets to just be with it and hear it for herself without you trying to translate it and put it in your own words and tell her how to do it through your filter. Just to be that observer. Yeah. That's beautiful parenting and beautiful love.
But I feel like with boys, it's actually harder. Because my son does not talk to me. I mean, he does.
He's 14.
But it's like pulling teeth where I'm like, oh my God, I can't read your mind, but I think I'm going to soon learn it. How do you deal with 3 boys?
3 boys. Well,
I need advice. This is a parenting advice. That's why I love my show. I get all kinds of advice for free. So
one of my favorite times was when they're like, middle school and early high school before they get their driver's license, and you're shuttling them about to their sporting events in the car with their friends and you're doing some carpool. You get to hear the best conversations between the peers. You actually learn so much about what's going on in their worlds, what's important to them, and you just listen. And if you don't interject, you don't say anything, they'll almost forget that you're there as the driver, and they'll really talk, and you get so much information. The other thing is for boys, and just driving with boys in general, and men too, like boys don't like this as much as side by side, going for a walk or a bike ride, or even driving in the car, not looking at them directly and just talking side by side. And for men too, my husband and I, if we want to talk about something, if I want to talk to him about something that's bothering me or heavy, we'll go for a walk and we're kind of side by side. It's not so confrontational.
That's a great advice.
Try it.
Oh my God, this is a great advice. And on this note, unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye. So if you want to talk to men, which is always can become very confrontational, you go side by side. You never look them in the eyes. So they don't become and feel very defensive. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being with me. And Victoria, thank you so much for all your advice. Oh. We absolutely loved it. How to let go of control and just let it be.
Let it be.
I go.